Let me ask about Bandersnatch. You've had so many great reactions so far, so many people dissecting all over the world. Have you had a chance to kind of take in all the kind of, acclaim and everything else so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really pleased with how people seem to have responded to it so far. It's been overwhelmingly positive, the reactions from people. So yeah.
Netflix is such a big platform now. I mean, obviously Bandersnatch is there, and also the sex education show seems to be going through the roof. I mean, are these some shows that you, if you weren't in them or you had friends in them, I mean, would you sit and kind of sit and watch them in one go?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, I love to binge watch stuff sometimes. When you've got the time, it can be great. And so yeah, I'd say I probably would have.
You're here for the Children Act. Just tell us about that movie and how you kind of come into the project and why it was so special for you as an actor.
The Children Act is based on the Ian McEwan novel, The Children Act, and centres around a judge, Fiona May, played by the incredible Emma Thompson. And it's about her having to decide on a case. She plays a High Court judge, and she has to decide on a case of a young 17-year-old Jehovah's Witness who's refusing to get a blood transfusion and has leukemia. She has to decide whether or not to force the hospital to transfuse him. Yeah.
I did want to ask about Thoroughbreds, though. Absolutely fantastic film.
Thanks, bro.
It seems like I spoke to you about it a long, long time ago, but I mean, the reaction to that has been so great. I mean, you and Livia, absolutely fantastic. I mean, you must be so proud of the film.
It's genuinely the one film that if nobody's seen, I'm not into self-promotion, but I'm like, watch Thoroughbreds. It's like a really good movie, and our director's so brilliant, and just, yeah, I love it.
And obviously with Glass, I mean, the reactions have kind of come out now in terms of the final part and everything. I mean, are you someone that watches, reads what the critics have to say, or are you just hopeful that the audience kind of takes it in and enjoys it?
I think there's a difference between critics and fans. I think if the fans are happy, I'm happy, because this becomes, it is a universe kind of thing, if that makes sense. And so if the fans are happy with where the characters have gone, then I'm happy with it. I also do think this is the first premiere that I've ever been able to kind of enjoy for myself with my friends and not be nervous or scared or anything like that. So yeah, it was a good time.
It's a story that's touched so many people. I mean, you must be delighted that the story of these two characters has really resonated with so many people.
Yeah, because it's more than anything, it's a story about friendship and people that are failing, which you think is not going to be something that people want to go and see. But it's, as you say, it's been very warmly received, and people have found it very funny and heartbreaking at the same time. So that's a great combination.
And Melissa, lots of people talking about Melissa's performance. She's known for these kind of bigger, larger-than-life characters, and this she plays something more somber. I mean, it must have been great to see her kind of extend herself in a different way.
Yeah, she's completely I've never seen her. She did a movie called St. Vincent, where she played a very, very sort of dour and curmudgeonly person, but I've never seen her completely transform in the way that she has done in this. I know she did a lot of theatre before she became a movie star, but she is amazing in this, I agree.
And we're in 2019 now, the year of the final Star Wars, which of course you are in. I'm sure you can't say anything, but are you now at that point where you're getting slightly giddy that you want to tell people what's to come and you're excited to see it yourself?
I am so beyond thrilled to be in the final Star Wars, I cannot tell you. It's like my dream come true. So I was a drama student 41 years ago when I first saw the first one. So to be in the final one is, never thought that would happen.
Congratulations on this movie. It is one of my favourites of the year. Just tell me about how you got involved and what was it about this character that kind of spoke to you when you read the script for the first time?
I think real stories always sort of speak to me, and I think Jehovah's Witnesses isn't a religion that's spoken about very much. So I think that's always important to tell stories. Like, surely the most important thing film and TV can do is sort of to inform people, and that's exactly what Apostasy did. So yeah.
What was it like working with Daniel? Because he lived this. I mean, it must have been such a great resource to go to because it's his project and his baby.
Yeah, completely. If we were on set and we had any questions, which obviously there are a lot, it was amazing having him there to just answer all of our questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small independent British movie. I mean, I guess you're hopeful that some people will see it, but the fact that there's so many different platforms that people can discover this movie, I mean, you must be delighted that it's getting such a big audience.
I can't quite believe it. Yeah, it's mad because, we made this film with not very much money, with like 3 weeks to film it, and it just sort of, it's taken off, and I'm so proud and pleased that that people have received it so well.
And for you, I mean, what's next for you? Have you got projects lined up?
I've got series 3 of The A Word. I'm starting filming that in May, and I've got another independent film coming up soon, hopefully. We're not quite sure yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to both of those.
Well, I'm glad that the situation now is what it is, because 3 years ago, it was very difficult for an actress not in the 20s just to find a real and strong character. So fortunately, the situation is changing. For me, it was so clear that my education, it was with women. I was always with my mother and with the neighbor, and so it were the women that really my formation belongs to them. So it was so obvious that that the female of my life represent more than male life in general. So I'm very glad that now with the feminist movement, women are more stronger in our cinema, directing, acting, or editing, or just having also the technician parts.
Congratulations on the movie. You must be delighted with the reaction from critics and from audiences so far.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely brilliant. It's really exciting to have something that seems to give so much pleasure. Yeah.
How did you first get involved in the film? I mean, what was the kind of you sold, if you like?
I had actually met Yorgos a few years before, just for a general, getting to know you, and then he sent me the script, and I just immediately knew, well, this is really a rare thing. It's rare on the page, and I knew that he's an unusual and brilliant director, so I was sold. And I had to convince him. That was the bit. It's not easy to convince Yorgos. So I had to come and sell my wares, which I did, yeah. So
he's such a unique filmmaker with such a unique voice. I mean, it's so refreshing to see his movies come out in the midst of all these kind of big movies. I mean, it must have been great to be a part of something so special.
Absolutely, because we created our own rules and we created our own logic within the story and language and visual, just the whole thing was an invention that has a basis, but we got to play with it, and that was a complete joy. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously now you work with him, I'm sure if he has a next movie, I'm sure you want to be involved. Does he give you any indications of what he's doing next?
I'd be the last to know. I have a feeling I would be the last to know, yeah.
But I'm sure in a heartbeat you'd want to be there, whatever strange thing he would do.
Hard to get as well, no, I mean, yes, but yeah. I loved working with him. He was incredibly trusting. We had a very simple process. And he just wanted us to, all of us, Sandy Powell, Nadia Stacey, all of us, Robbie, do our job. And so we were able to run with it, which was brilliant.
So many amazing films this year. Is there anything that stood out for you that you've seen and thought this is something special?
Roma and The Favourite. I'm sorry. As a member of BAFTA and a member of the Screen Actors Guild and a member of ACTA, which is the Australian Academy, I get all those DVDs and I have to watch them. And the awful thing is it's always over Christmas and you suddenly find yourself, because you've got a deadline, and I really feel that if you are put in a position where people ask you to vote, you have to see all the films that are available, and that often means 4 films a day over the Christmas period. It's a lot of fun. My kids love it. My daughter is a real, she should be here because she writes her own film criticism and everything. So she's like, Mom, and everyone steals them. I go, hi, I haven't seen Green Book, So I saw that the other day though. Vice and Green Book. Yeah.
Is there anything that has come out that's kind of surprised you and you thought, oh wow, that was better than I thought it was? Not in a negative way, but in a surprising way.
Wow, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, I think actually all the films this year are really diverse, and I'm really happy about that. Obviously, there are films that have been directed by women, or mainly, I would say, starring women more, which is really, really good. And I think, the more the box office shows, and I think this year it has shown that actually women, I think films led by women actually are now ahead in the box office than films led by men. And the people who make the decisions, that is very, very important what those grosses are. And I think there's more films written by women, and of course I've just produced a film that I wrote called The Bay of Silence as well, and we have a female director, Paweł, and the divine Claes Bang, who is our next Dracula, who is starring in it along with Olga Kurilenko, who, Bond Girl, and Brian Cox, of course, in Succession. So it's a great cast, and I just feel really honoured. And maybe a year or two ago that would not have happened. It's an independent film, shot here, but it's sort of pan-European, sort of Hitchcock-Polanski kind of feel. So there is room for more, I do believe that.
Before you go, I have to ask, childhood favourite of many, Hook, many years ago. I have to ask you about Hook. I mean, I know when it came out, it seemed as a failure, but has kind of taken on a life of its own since then.
You are so right. Actually, it succeeded E.T., which is quite bizarre. I mean, it was my first film. It was the first $100 million film ever to be made. It was my first film. So for me, it was just an extraordinary experience. And it was a 100-day shoot. And I just went, whether I was working or not, I just went down to Neverland every day. I was just super happy. It was like a dream come true. So from my point of view, whether it made money or people loved it or hated it, I didn't give a damn. I loved it, and I made friends for life on that as well. And then obviously I worked with Steven Spielberg again on Schindler's List. So for me it was, it was career changing. It truly was. But yeah, I think it's a great film. I think it's a little ahead of its time.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey